Okay, this trick is very 5 years ago, but I'm just going to go over it briefly because it may come up. These are pop-ups, and a few years back, they were very ubiquitous. What you'd be surfing a website, a pop-up would come up and tell you that it found threats, that your computer was loaded with viruses, and then it would either give you a telephone number to call to get it cleaned, or it would ask you to click here to remove it, in which case you'd click there and it would try to download additional viruses. So just be wary of these pop-ups. The antivirus alert will usually come up at the bottom of your computer, the bottom right, which is your icon tray. And if you're in doubt, okay, if you're not sure, because some of these pop-ups tend to look like the real thing, call our help desk, let us take a look at it, let us make the call for you. And a lot of times when you do get a pop-up that you've been surfing on a site that's trying to download a virus, we'll get that alert in our knock, and we'll probably either take care of it or we'll need to call you and ask you to restart your computer or what have you. So whatever you do, don't click on these. If you'd like, you can press Alt and F4, and that will close the window. Okay, without you ever having to click on it. So the myths of malware I'm going to talk about real quick, but first I want you to see this short video.
Hello, I'm a Mac, and I'm a PC. Syntech, you okay? No, I'm not okay. I have that virus that's going around. Oh, no. You better stay back. This one's a doozy. That's okay, I'll be fine. No, do not be a hero. Last year there are 114,000 known viruses for PCs. PCs, not Macs. So, just good. I think I got a crash. Hey, if you feel it, that'll help. Okay. Hello, I'm a Mac, and I am no one. Okay, PC, what do you think? Listen, friend, it's not very safe for me right now, you understand? There's a lot of spyware out there. It sneaks into your system, follows you wherever you may go. In fact, take these. They'll keep you safe. PC, I don't need them. Really, I'm good. I run Mac OS X, so I don't have to worry about your spyware and viruses. You take them. Yeah, you're right. I probably should have a backup anyway. Yeah. You never saw me. Never saw who? Me, PC. Hello, I'm a Mac.
Yeah. I love that line. I'm a Mac, so I don't have to worry about your viruses and your PCs. But I suppose I do have to worry about my viruses and my PCs because Macs do get viruses. As a matter of fact, despite the fact that I love Macs, okay, as you can see here behind my desk, I have a Mac, okay. That commercial really makes me upset because I think it's created a generation of people that think that their Mac computers are infallible, and they don't even bother to put antivirus on their Macs. And I can tell you right now, Macs get viruses, PCs get viruses, Linux boxes get viruses. Any device that has a processor, memory, and input-output, okay, or I/O, can get hacked. Okay. It doesn't matter whether it's a Mac or a PC. It could be your smartphone. It could be a DVR camera system. It could be your doorbell. Okay? It's just the nature of computing devices. Things have weaknesses in them. Anybody could hack it. Some of these devices could get viruses. Maybe the Mac is not going to get the same virus as the PC and vice versa because they're different operating systems, but they all have exploits. They can all get viruses. So whether you own a Mac or a PC, please install antivirus on. Okay, these are things that I've honestly have heard from people's mouths. One, I can't get a virus because I have antivirus. That is a fallacy. Antivirus will help, but it doesn't mean that you should just go out there and be careless. Watch what websites you go to. Watch what you're doing online, and be careful who you share files with. The antivirus is there to protect you, but nothing is 100%. I have a Mac, they don't get viruses. Again, this is not true. Macs get viruses too. I haven't been anywhere I should go. Hey, you know what? You can go to any website and get a virus from there because as you read in one of the first posts, there's 600,000 websites that get hacked every day. When a website gets hacked, the hacker puts malicious code on it. And even though it's a legit website that you go to every day, you've been going to it for years, but then tomorrow you go to it and it might try to download a virus because it got hacked. There's nothing wrong with my computer. How can I be infected? People think that their computers are going to run slow. They could. If you have a mass mailing worm that's sending out bulk mail or doing computations for Bitcoin or mining, what they call mining, then yes, it will slow down your computer. But if you have a keystroke logger or a piece of software that's stealing information, it could be doing it. It could be trickling information out. They don't want to make big waves, but your computer might not show any symptoms at all. Okay. If you think that just because you don't open attachments or install programs, that doesn't guarantee it either. Just by surfing, they have something called drive-bys. You could be surfing a website and get infected. If you think that you don't store any sensitive or valuable information on your computer, and so therefore you're not a target, nobody would care to install a virus, that's not true either. Because your computer is one computer and there's millions of computers around the world, and by spreading a net and getting as many computers infected as you can, nation states or hackers all of a sudden have these things called botnets, and the botnet is something where you create volume. You try to get as many infections on the computer without the person knowing it. And these viruses sit there dormant until a command and control center alerts them to do XYZ thing. That XYZ thing could be, let's perform a DDoS attack on somebody who didn't want to pay what we asked them for. So yes, your computer, as long as it's got a processor I/O, it's a valuable piece of equipment for a hacker if they are able to get control of it. It could also be a conduit to get into another computer, to hack into something, so that it's difficult to trace back to the origin. Okay, so just keep this in mind. Okay, we already talked about this, the pop-ups, and there's these things are also called scareware. They scare you into getting duped into something that you may not need. For example, one of the things are like the registry programs where they tell you that your registry has problems. They scanned it and it's got 100 problems or 200 problems, and then they offer you a fix. They sell you the program for $39. It's scareware. They scared you into coughing up $39 that you didn't need to. So please be careful with these types of programs also. All right, this is another scam. It looks like the Windows Security Essentials, which is a very common and popular antivirus program. It's a Internet Explorer pop-up Windows that's made to look like it's the Windows Security Essentials giving you an alert, but it's basically a browser window. And then if you call that number, they're going to try to dupe you for $49, $59, $79 to fix something that it's not even broken. Scareware programs will try to trick you into either clicking on them in order to get you to download additional software or some type of other malicious program. Or what they'll do is they'll guide you either to making a phone call and providing a credit card, and by making you think that your computer's either been infected with a virus or it has some issue that needs repair. One of the things about scareware programs is they try to scare you into action. So you'll see these very bombastic, comments like your computer has 180 viruses. Your computer has 180 problems, and they also will create a sense of urgency. If you see any pop-ups related to your computer being infected or your computer needing repair, these are probably fake. Make sure to call us. Do not click on them. You can press Alt F4 on your keyboard to close the window without interacting with it, and just don't click on it. If you have one of our managed PCs, if you're one of our clients, our antivirus is managed by us. There's really nothing that you need to do on your end. It will alert us if there's a problem. So if you receive one of these messages, it's not from the antivirus that's on your computer, it's fake, and just be sure to. Here's one scareware that made its rounds a couple of years ago. It mimicked the Microsoft Security Essentials, which is a freeware antivirus that's very common. And what it would try to do is try to get you to call this 800 number, and they would tell you that your computer's been infected, it needed to be cleaned, contact Microsoft certified technician, and then they would take your credit card number and do a cleanup, which really was not necessary. And this is just as you can see here, it's basically an Internet Explorer window, and this is just a graphic, but the whole thing looks like it's a pop-up dialog box from your actual computer, but this is nothing more than a graphics inside an Internet Explorer window. So it's fake, obviously, but again, it looks real. It's got the Microsoft Security Essentials graphics here. You know, it's got this other graphic on top of this one that makes it, you know, look legit, but this is really not a separate dialog box. This is part of the actual graphic image. So it's fake, but it's made to look real. Just be careful with things like this. When surfing online, a lot of websites present advertising because they need to make money to stay in business. And when you're dealing with that, there are two things that you need to watch out for. One is bloatware, and the other one are advertisements which may lead you into malicious sites or try to get you to download malicious content. The first one, bloatware. Bloatware are programs that are really not necessary. They're just superfluous. They really make you believe that you need them, but you really don't. Most of the time Windows has functions that are built in that do the same thing. Registry editors, for example, not registry editors, registry fix programs. There's a lot of them out there, and they make you believe that you need to fix your registry, and you know, most often than not, that's not the case. And so, you know, that's one type of bloatware, like PC cleaners and things like that. So if you see here, this is a website, speedtest.net, and a lot of people go to it, and a lot of people go to it frequently. Okay, so they click on this green button, begin test. Now that gets to be repetitive, so a lot of times you're in a hurry, you're not thinking, so you just instinctively reach for that green button. Well, this ad, the way that they designed it is they put this other green button on top of this green button, and I guess it can confuse you. So if you're in auto mode, you're in a hurry, and you're not really thinking, you might reach for that first green button, and instead of, you know, doing a speed test, you're actually going to download this thing called PC Cleaner. And so that's one thing that you've got to watch out for. And again, it goes back to the rule that we talked about before. Don't be in autopilot mode. Always think about your actions before you click, before you do anything. Think about it. The other thing that you have to watch out for is that these ads are presented by ad networks. And hackers can buy ads too. I mean, people with malicious software, you know, I mean, they could buy ads, present the ads to you. You click on them, and it'll either take you to a malicious site, or it'll try to get you to download some malicious software. Although the ad networks really try to scan and do away with this, hackers do get through, and they do place ads periodically. So just watch out for this. Your antivirus should catch this, but just wanted to let you know. So here are some of the sites that are troublesome, okay, and they're mainly used for conduits for viruses, and also the types of programs that are used. You know, pornography and gambling sites. As you can see by this ad down here, hackers are creating fake porn content to lure millions of, you know, people into their sites so that they can dish out malicious programs. So I mean, you've got hackers out there that are creating porn sites to lure people in and get them infected. Peer-to-peer also. In a peer-to-peer scenario, you're basically sharing files across the internet, and the files that reside on your peer-to-peer shared folder, you're sharing them, you're copying them, synchronizing them with another user's PC who's doing it with another user who's doing it with another user. if one of these guys somewhere along the way gets a virus and that virus attaches itself to a file, that file is going to get copied to 4, 5, 6, 10, 20, 1,000 users, and that's a potential for 1,000 people to get infected. So peer-to-peer is another big one, and it's something that I would recommend staying away from. And definitely in the workplace, you should block all this stuff. You should block pornography, you should block gambling, you should block peer-to-peer. As a matter of fact, it's a good idea to block just about anything that's not work-related, okay? Because you want to keep your workplace as safe as possible. Getting a crypto wall could literally shut you down. I mean, it could shut down your business for days on end. So, always, be safe, be as most secure as possible, and only grant access to the things that are necessary to get the job done. Key generators are also big. A key generator is a program that it's a Trojan horse. It makes you believe that the program is something that some hacker wrote so that people could crack software, but most of the time it has some malicious code in it, and it's either going to be a keystroke logger, or it's going to be a remote control program, or it's going to do something. I mean, that's a big one. If you're using key generators, first of all, you're probably breaking copyright law. But secondly, you're going to be very susceptible to getting a virus, because these types of programs are also conduits for viruses. Most key generator programs are actually Trojan horses themselves. So cracked software also. If somebody cracks a software, okay, and then they put it out there to be had for free for you to download, the odds are that they're going to inject some kind of malicious code into it. They've got some kind of ulterior motive. I mean, it's very few people that are actually going to go through the trouble of doing this and then, getting absolutely nothing out of it. So you have to also be careful about cracked software. Aside from viruses, cracked software also has some ramifications, especially in the workplace. Your employer could be held liable if you're running cracked software in the workplace. So most antiviruses will catch key generators and cracks, okay, but as a business owner or an executive or manager, you should have a written policy where employees are strictly prohibited from bringing in or downloading any kind of crack, whether it's a key generator or cracked software itself, because again, your company could be held liable for this. Okay, so this year, 2019, this is probably the scariest thing out there, cryptographic viruses. Back in the old days, viruses, they were just annoying, right? You had, for example, one of the first viruses I remember was the stoned virus, and it would do absolutely nothing other than put these wiggly lines on your screen, and a little sign would pop up that read, your computer is stoned. Okay, not great, but not malicious. This going forward this year and some of the years prior, viruses have just gotten to be incredibly malicious, and cryptographic viruses are probably the most malicious of all. They really, what their main goal is to shut down your network, shut down your data, shut you out of everything, and stop you from operating your business until you have paid a ransom. So imagine if whatever type of company you have, let's say you're a law firm, imagine all of a sudden all your computers you're locked out of them, you're locked out of all your client data, you're locked out of people can't do anything. It's almost like you're losing power and in the office, so you cannot do work at all. Okay, you're going to be in a bind. Okay, and the only way to get out of it most of the time is to pay the ransom. Even if you pay the ransom, there's still no guarantee that you're going to get out of it, because the FBI and some of the other agencies and even private white hats, they look for these command and control servers and they try to knock them out. And if you pay the ransom and it just so happens that server got knocked out, okay, you're not going to be able to recover. The only hopes that you're going to have really are either going to be pay the ransom and hope that it could be recovered, or look for some programs that have been written for some of these cryptographic functions that are cracks. They've found weaknesses in the cryptographic functions, or they found the keys somewhere. In one case, an actual white hat actually hacked the hackers and publicize the keys. So, but really, it's just a bad situation to be in, and more often than not, the results are not going to be good. So the best thing that you could do for cryptographic viruses is not get them at all. And they are one of the biggest threats to businesses right now. Okay, like I said, they encrypt your computers, they encrypt your data, they lock you out. So one of the things that you could do, again, is prevent them by having good antivirus, by having good security policies, by having good surfing policies, by educating your employees about phishing, because a lot of the times they do come from via emails from phishing, okay, although they could come in through other methods, and have an offline backup. Do not back up to a USB disk that's connected to your server, because if that server gets the crypto virus, the USB disk is going to be encrypted along with it, and your backups are also going to be encrypted. You're not going to be able to recover them. The best thing that you could do is have a NAS, which is a network access storage, which is password protected and runs on a different operating system, for example, a Linux or something, so that if one of these spreads throughout your network, starts encrypting everything, when it tries to get into that box, okay, that box is going to present it with a username, password. It's a whole different operating system, and your backups are going to be safe. You can also do offline backups where you physically remove the backup asset from the server, and you could rotate drives periodically. Okay, backup sets that are offline are absolutely the best way to mitigate cryptoviruses, because if they're offline, they're not connected to anything, there's no way to get to them. So, again, this is something that it's getting worse every year, and FBI report came out this year stating that in the past the people that spread these cryptographic viruses, they've been throwing out a wide net. They just send out generic spam emails, and they're trying to crypto everyone. But they figured out that people are only willing to pay so much to get back their photos off from their computers or their music or whatever. The money is in big businesses. So now they're doing what's called spear phishing or whaling attacks, where they're going after specific people in specific industries that they know that the payouts are going to be big. And these industries are government, medical, and manufacturing. Okay, so instead of getting someone to pay a couple $100 to get their wedding photos back, now all of a sudden the payouts are in the tens of millions of dollars. If you're a hospital and you can't operate yet, you're probably going to fork over a couple $1 million just to get back up and running. So hackers know it, and they're going after big paydays now. Again, cryptographic viruses, biggest threat that has been around in the last couple of years, and it's probably not going to go away anytime soon. The best thing you can do is prevention, have a good strategy, and have cybersecurity training for your employees so that they're aware of this, and they know what kind of emails they should not open, and how to spot emails that are questionable. So not only by email and surfing, but there's a variety of methods that a virus can get into your computer. One of them is by sharing information between computers. Do not share data between secured and unsecured systems, because the problem is that you don't know the state of those unsecured systems. For example, a secured system might be a computer on your company's network that we manage, that we have our managed antivirus, and we have telemetry on it. An unsecured system might be a computer that the employee uses when they get home. Their kids might use it, their spouse might use it, they might use it. That computer may or may not have antivirus, it may or may not be updated, it may or may not have a virus. Okay? So if you start to share information, if that employee all of a sudden says, "Oh, let me take the spreadsheet home, I'll work on it," they put it on a USB stick, they take it home, insert that USB stick on an infected computer. The next day they come back and they insert that infected USB stick back into their work computer. They could be putting the company at risk. And I see this quite often, because we have, like I said, we have telemetry that tells us that somebody inserted a USB stick and it was infected. And a lot of these times it's employees taking work home, working on it from an infected computer and then bringing it back to work. It's the antivirus catches it, but again, it's something that you want to avoid. Okay. So again, you could get it from sharing CDs. You could get it from sharing USB sticks. You could get it from repositories like Dropbox or file transfers, things like that. Hopefully, some of these places will scan for viruses, but I don't know which ones do and which ones don't, because there's so many out there, and you have to just read their website or read the terms and conditions and see what kind of antivirus they're using, what's it scanning for, what the catch rate is. So it's something that you have to be very careful. The best thing is to just block people from being able to come in and insert USB sticks or external USB drives, and just allow those that are necessary. Again, it's you don't want to give a privilege if it's not necessary, and that's the best security posture that you can have. There's also a program you can see here called EMET. It's made by Microsoft. It's freeware. It's not necessary for Windows 10, because Windows 10 has an exploit mitigation built in. But if you have a Windows 7 or Windows 8 or 8.1, it's a good tool to have. And what it does is it looks to block malware trying to get in through exploits. For example, programs that try to install themselves on your entire chunks of memory in the hope that something tries to execute that area of memory and thus execute the program, and a couple of other types of known exploits out there. So if you have Windows 7, Windows 8, Windows 8.1, you can add the EMET, which is the Enhanced Mitigation Experience Toolkit. Add that to your computer. It runs alongside your antivirus, and it's an extra step of protection that you'll have. The image that you see here is a website that I personally ran into one day. I was looking to fix a copier. It was a multifunction copy machine that was having trouble here in my office, and I was looking for a fix, and I ran into this website. Okay, and it was I think I had searched online for an error 3332 sharp, which was the copier. And I came up with this website. Now, thankfully, I'm in the IT business, so right away when I started to read what the fix was, I knew that this was fake. The fix asked me to download and install a registry cure, because the problem that I was experiencing with the Sharp was that the computer registry was messed up. The two things had nothing to do with each other, so I knew it was fake. But the whole thing, really what's going on here is these websites are popping up because there's a lot of do-it-yourselfers out there, and there's a lot of fake websites that are either going to lead you into fake repairs, or they're going to tell you to download some kind of program that you really don't need. In this case, it was one of those Bloatware registry editors. So you have to really be careful. One of the ways that you could really discern whether or not something is real, in this example, for example, is that the fix had no relation to the actual error. The error was coming up on the Sharp printer. It had nothing to do with my computer. Okay, so right away, that's a dead giveaway. The second thing is that right away, without even doing any diagnostics or asking me any questions, it came up and offered me a fix. That again is a dead giveaway. If you go to your doctor, and before you even open your mouth and tell your doctor what's wrong with you, the doctor says, oh, what you need is antibiotics, you're going to think that, well, this is not a very good doctor. So this website basically did the same thing. I went into it, I said, hey, I Googled the Sharp error 3332, and right away, without asking me any additional questions of, what operating system do I have, how is it connected via network, via USB, it just right away came out and just told me, here's the fix that you need, without doing any troubleshooting. So that's another dead giveaway. The third thing is, when you see something that they're trying to kind of, get you to believe that something is just so great. Like you look here, the words "for free," you can get this for free. When they start to kind of push things as free, we're doing this out of the love of it. You're getting the deal of your lifetime. That's another dead giveaway that something is fake. And then the last one was right away I got a pop-up asking me to install the software. I didn't have to click on anything. It just kind of presented it to my computer saying, here, download this, by the way. Click on this button. So they're kind of being very pushy. Okay? And they need to do this because they need to act quick and get people to respond quickly, because if you sit and you think about it too much, which is what I did, you'll probably come to the correct conclusion, which is that this whole thing is fake. So phishing is not just email. Okay, phishing could come via social media, and this is generally how they do it. As you can see here in this example, Andrea Rosales sent a post to someone saying, "My love, I made this special video for you. Please open it up. I'm thinking about you." Now, if you open that up and you're reading it, you're thinking, "Ooh, she sent a video of herself, to me by accident. She must have meant to send it to her boyfriend or her husband or whatever, and it was sent to me by accident." Probably not. It's probably they're trying to phish you. If you click on it, the next thing that would pop up is that you need, some kind of a codec or something to decode that video, and you think, "Oh, I don't have the right codec. Let me download it." And they provide you, of course, the download link, which is probably some type of malware. So don't get phished. And also, don't provide any personal information to anyone who is contacting you via chat or via any other way on social media, okay? Because, again, you don't really know who you're talking to. People impersonate others online. It's called catfishing. And they can do all kinds of things, make you believe that they are someone other than who they really are. And, just got to be extra careful.